This is Close Encounters. Close Encounters. True stories, real people. Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms.
Yes, hello and welcome to Close Encounters with me, Anne Donaldson. My guest today is Matt Wood. Welcome, Matt, to Close Encounters. It's really lovely to have you here today.
Thank you, Anne. Pleasure.
So, Matt's a musician, a husband, father, and an auditor.
Yes.
He used to work for Eon as an auditor. Now he's working for NHS supply chain as an auditor.
Yep.
And causing money to be saved, I understand.
That's the aim of the game, man. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. We want to hear a lot more about you, Matt, but let's start by hearing a little bit about your early years, where you were born and where you grew up.
Yep. So originally from a little place called Kirkby in Ashfield in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Where I grew up. And when I look back at my kind of childhood and upbringing, it's kind of quite, well, for me, normal. I appreciate it's probably not normal for everyone. Mum, dad, my sister Charlotte, who's three years older than me, in a nice little semi-detached house, primary school, secondary school, playing out on my bikes till late. My dad was self-employed quite a lot of his working life, so we used to have like 3 weeks in the summertime. We had a caravan. We'd be down in Cornwall, enjoying the beaches and
sounds wonderful.
Yeah, very idyllic. I think when you look back, you do kind of look back with your rose-tinted glasses on, but and also we had my granddad moved in with us when I was about 5 years old.
Okay.
So it was quite there was more than one father figure, as it were, and someone to take the burden off of bringing me and my sister up a little bit. So just a nice, my childhood memories are and growing up in Kirkby. It's really quite fond, warm memories, to be honest.
Yeah. And were your family churchgoers or?
Probably like a lot of people, it was the birth, deaths and
high days
and marriages.
Yeah.
Not so much the deaths. I remember mum and dad keeping me away from funerals as most parents would of young children. But yeah, it wasn't. I got involved with. I remember at school I did Discoverers Bible Club.
All right.
Which I don't know if it's still going, but it was like you used to get a little thing you'd fill in with Bible stories and you colour it in. So I remember that. I remember assemblies at school. You'd have, you'd be singing the classic kind of hymns and stuff you did as a kid. Dance, wherever you may be, that kind of thing. And I joined Boys Brigade for a short time, which I didn't realise was a Christian thing. I thought it was just mucking about with my mates from the I went to school with. Yeah. But I had the outfit. I did that for a bit, but no, not really, not a strong Sunday morning church thing happening in the family.
Yeah. And at school and further education, you enjoyed that or what?
I think yes. But I had instilled in me, and I don't know where from, but kind of a thing of doing my best. And my sister was 3 years older than me, or still is. Yeah. And she kind of paved the way and done well. So I was the brother who's going to do well, right? And that was quite a bit of pressure. So I struggled a little bit, and I tried to be studious, and that doesn't always, there's kind of two camps, isn't there? There's the cool kids and the not so cool kids, and sadly I was in the not so, believe it or not, in the not so cool kids. Aww. So it was a bit of a struggle at school. Yeah. And had you got influences around you that were either good or not good at that stage? I think so. I mean, I had friends. I had some quite long-lasting friendships when I was in school, and I kind of stayed away from trouble, as it were, I would say. Yeah. But probably I still am quite a homebody, so kind of,
clean living.
Yeah, I mean, later on it kind of got a little bit unruly, but there's reasons for that, I like to think. Yeah. But yes, generally I quite enjoyed
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and primary school, secondary school, and I tried to stay in education for as long as I could, primarily because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, Anne, if I'm honest.
Yeah. And you're a musician. At what point did you learn, and what instrument and how?
Well, I went through. I think everyone's got memories of playing the recorder, right? So I did that for a bit, but that's not very exciting. And I remember picking up the guitar. I think I'll be honest with you. I think primarily because my friend Joe used to get a lot of female attention. Now I thought it was because he could play guitar, so I picked up a guitar, which was my sister. My sister got an old acoustic from somewhere. It was I still got it. It was battered. Still is battered. I tried to learn on that. What I realised was, Annie, the guitar playing wasn't what was attracting the ladies to my friend Joe. He was actually better looking than me, and that was the fundamental thing. I think that was a driving force there. So yeah, I picked up the guitar quite late on, really, like late. Well, I say late teens, probably towards the end of primary school. It's kind of sixth form. I was kind of, and my first guitar was this pink Hohner Stratocaster, which somebody had dropped on the floor, and it got like nail varnish, nail polish had kind of been put on to cover it, and it was a horrendous looking thing. And eventually I resprayed it, and then it got sold for beer tokens, and at some point, I'll be honest.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a further conversation about the guitar playing, but maybe a good time to take a break and listen to the first song that you've chosen. Tell us a little bit why you've chosen this song.
So I discovered Jason Gray by accident, really. Sadly, a friend of mine who was at college, I was college with, died suddenly, and I went to his funeral, and one of the songs at the funeral was something, I think it's You Can't Hold Back Spring. I think it was a Tom Waits version or a different version, but when I looked it up, Jason Gray done the version, and then I realised it was a Christian artist. And at that time in my life, I didn't know very many Christian artists, and this one kind of, and I was going through a lot of sad stuff, and so this one, Everything Sad's Coming Untrue, was kind of almost like an anthem song at that time, and I really latched onto it, because it was music in a style I could identify with, and also kind of the message. So yeah, it's kind of one of those pivotal songs for me.
Lovely. We'll listen now. Thank you. You're listening to Close Encounters. I'm Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Matt Wood. Now, Matt, before we listen to that song, you were talking about having quite a lot of sadness at that particular time.
Yeah. It was a difficult... 2009 was kind of a difficult... a transformative year for me, really. And there'd been sadness in the past. Lost my mum when I was 19, and my granddad shortly after that had been with living with us for quite a long time. So there was a lot of change in a short space of time. And what I realised was, talked about my childhood and the warmth of that. When my mum died, the home became a house. Things kind of, and I was changed. I was a teenager. So I'm going. There's all of a sudden, everything that you knew was true, and you could, it was a foundation. It had gone. You're trying to find your own way in life. And at 2009, I was married. I'd moved to Mansfield Woodhouse, so not too far from Kirkby. With my wife at the time, and we were thinking about starting a family. And then my dad got diagnosed with bowel cancer. So there was that, and then I learned that my wife had been unfaithful, and we were trying to work through that. So there's a lot of sadness happening, a lot of change, and those two things played out sadly in the way that I guess I kind of expected. My dad didn't get any better. He passed away. And I couldn't reconcile with my wife at the time. And there's reasons why that we ended up in that situation, and we parted ways. So I found myself on 2009 on my own. With a bit of a now what? Now what do I do? So it was a difficult time, but in my faith, I was only just kind of exploring that. That was kind of a developing thing, right? That I didn't have that kind of road to Damascus moment in terms of, right, I've suddenly realised Jesus is in my life. It'd been kind of, a seed had been sown years before, and I was kind of exploring that. But that 2009, that year, was the year when I was like, right, God, if you are real, because I was still in the if you are real, and if I can't do this, I can't sort out.
No.
I've got a new house that I can't afford. I've got no family. My sister moved to France. She married a Frenchman, started a family there.
Yeah.
I've got nothing.
Yeah.
And I can't navigate all this. I'm dealing with solicitors, sorting out my dad's estate, sorting out a divorce.
Yeah.
Trying to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
So it was a really difficult time, and that's why there was a lot of sadness.
And you were crying out to God. You were reaching out to Him.
I remember sitting at some traffic lights, and I got my hands on the steering wheel. I remember saying to God, take this wheel, metaphorically take this steering wheel, and where are we going with this? Because I can't see any I can't, when you've got your life kind of mapped out, and you've got your family, and you've got your job, and you've got everything set, and then things change. I couldn't navigate through that.
No.
I ain't got a clue. So I cried out to God.
And what did you sense as a result of that moment? Was there a steady shift, or did you feel an immediate change in things?
It was a steady shift. What I found was that it was a sense of calm. I've got this. You're going to get through this. And it was the pivotal shift in my faith at that time was from a God who's very far away and very remote to I'm in this with you. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Yeah. And I'm a musician. I dabble. And I just started. I come home from work and I just write. Let's get this out. So I was writing songs.
Right.
And I felt very much in that God was in that, and we were writing songs together. And I'm like, this is really cool because I'm getting an idea. I've got ideas. Yeah. And I've got a passion. Yeah. And one of the things in my Christian walk I've learned is that if you've got a passion that gets refilled, God's probably in that. If you're doing something that you really enjoy and really energizes you, and no matter how much you do, you've always got energy to do more. God's probably in that, and that's what I found with my music. Yeah. So I basically wrote an album that's quite miserable, but also quite hopeful. Yes. Was kind of I wrote the I'm going through a divorce and bereavement album of 2009. Yeah. Which I then gave my colleagues at work at the time. I was like, do you know, I want to listen to this album. I don't know why I inflicted it. I was so proud of what I'd achieved. Yeah. I was passing it round. I don't know what happened with those copies. They probably got used for coasters and stuff. I don't know, but I was quite so pleased that actually had found God in a way that I never expected to find God in my life.
How wonderful!
I thought he was over there doing godly things, sorting out wars and stuff, important stuff, not actually working me through navigating me through. Yeah. A really difficult, dark time. And
because what you know now as a mature Christian is that at that point of inviting him in, he literally came. Yeah. He literally took up residence by his Spirit in your life.
It never not been there. That's the amusing thing. Yeah. It's just you rely on your own strength, don't you? I want to sort my way out of this. I want to do this in my own strength. Yeah. And literally. I opened the door. Yeah. I had no choice really. I got out of tools.
Okay, that's fantastic. And you also, when you look back prior to 2009, we have these markers, don't we, in our lives, and you go, oh, God was very much involved, but I didn't know it.
Very much so. And I found in my life God has been a shaker and a disruptor. Mm-hmm. So I've always battled with anxiety from school when I found it tough and trying to fit in. And I went through about before 2009, and I was really struggling to find out why am I so. The thing is with anxiety in the past, it's always been like times tables, tests, normal anxious events.
Yeah.
And what I found was I was feeling anxious I couldn't put my finger on it, and I thought it's because I've got to go back and whatever I've done wrong in the past, I need to put right. So I was like ringing people I've fallen out with and trying to put everything right. Still felt anxious, and then I was on the phone to my sister. One of the things that I was trying to put right was I promised somebody I was going to do a painting for them. It's a bit of a long story. We probably haven't got time for here. Doing this painting, I still haven't fulfilled it, to be honest. So I started doing this painting that I promised years ago. I'm not much of a painter. I'm probably a slightly better musician. So I was doing that, and I was speaking to my sister. My sister said, these problems you're going through, maybe God's trying to get your attention, because God can speak to you through all different things. She didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know about this painting. You can, through music, through painting. And when she said painting, it's almost like a light bulb went off. And I looked at this painting, and this painting, for reasons, again, that we haven't got time to go into, was literally me in the middle of this painting with a devil figure with its hand on my head and a Jesus figure in the background, also similarly kind of looking, basically in my mind depicting a crossroads. So you're at a crossroads, and that's what I felt, and that's what. Wow. So God kind of said, you've got a choice here. Yeah. I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to knock on the door. Yeah. I'm knocking on the door. Yeah. And I had that revelation, and that was the moment when I thought, Jesus wants a relationship, an intimate, personal relationship with me. Yeah. And that was the moment that's when I started exploring. Wow. It took many years to get to. Yeah. Then 2009 and onwards. Yeah. But it was that God speaking to me. Yeah. In a way that only I understand. Yes, yeah. Was the key bit.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Could you introduce your next piece of music, please?
So, Jason Upton is an artist that I like to think of. When you discover somebody, you go, oh, no one knows about this. And I discovered Jason Upton. I can't remember why or how, but In Your Presence is something that's been, when I'm leading worship, the thing I'm trying to do is just bring people into God's presence, create that space. So that's the reason why I love this song. It just creates that space.
Thank you, Matt. My guest today is Matt Wood, and we were hearing about you having times of anxiety, and I was just loving the ending of that song, in your presence, all fear is gone.
Amen.
So what's been the help? What's been the antidote to your anxiety?
So it's been interesting. It's something that I've really wrestled with, and anxiety, as we know, is not of God. It's not something that God doesn't want us to be anxious. I mean, Jesus died, he gave us peace. I give you my peace. Something that not the kind of peace the world has, something the world can't understand. And I've always known that anxiety is not the place to be dwelling. And what I've realized is that in those moments, and more recently, it's been more around spiritual warfare. So it's been more of a battle, and I've had to recognise that this is sometimes something that God's trying to work through, and I almost need to. It's more almost like an alert. I need to be alert to anxiety. Is like an alarm bell. Get ready. Something. God's doing something. It's going to be good, but be more attuned. So I'm trying to see it less as I'm anxious and I'm not in control, and think it's a time now to really lean into God, lean into your support network. What do you normally do when you need to get closer to God? And do that stuff. And then and if you can, journal. That's one of the things I've done for a long time, because then you'll see the arc, and then you can go back and go, when I was feeling anxious before, what happened? I perhaps stayed too long in that place, and then I realised God was working, and so you kind of then can get out of it a little bit quicker. And from a physical perspective, just get out the house. If you feel anxious, get out and take a walk. People say that a lot, but I've been doing that since the end of last year, and just being out in nature. It's
beautiful, isn't it?
It's amazing.
It does
for well-being.
Definitely, it does. And another thing I found is listening to music that's going to give me words and lyrics that are going to affirm who I am, who God says I am. That's, if I'm feeling anxious, I find that music helps me as well.
Definitely. It creates a space for God to speak into that moment, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you were living in Nottingham. Yeah. And yet now you're living in Stoke.
What happened? And that's what you're saying. Why did you move?
Yeah.
Well, I felt, 2009, 2010, if God had very much wrapped up that chapter of my life. It's very much maybe even a book that closed. And interesting in music is how I met Helen, who's now my wife. Because I ended up in a covers band doing weddings and things like that. And the bassist, Adam, he knew Helen, and I'll be honest, Dan, I'd been trying to explore, that my marriage had been in a bit of a difficult place for a while, and so when it ended, it was an end, and I'd perhaps grieved it already a little bit, so I was kind of, okay, what's next?
Yes.
And I was exploring things, trying to, knocking on doors, but in all of it, I was like, God, if it's your will, then, let me know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's funny, isn't it, as a Christian, because you're like, yeah, your will, God, I'm just going to knock on this door over here and this door over here. And sometimes physically I'm knocking on doors, I want some comfort, right, because I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And every time it was either a slam in the face or it wasn't working, and I'm like, this is... But you see, I'm praying, God, your will, because God knows what I need. Yeah. And Adam knew Helen. Yeah. And it was a message on Facebook around Valentine's Day, I think, saying, you're two nice people, you should meet up. Yeah. And I was getting frustrated. I was like, okay, I've had enough with trying to explore my own strength. Yeah. I meet up with Helen. And so I did. And it was almost like when I met Helen, it was, I felt in my spirit kind of there you go. That's for you. Off you go.
That's what you've been looking for.
Yeah. So because of the sadness, it was just so nice to actually have all that, kind of that freshness, that newness, and somebody who was just, there wasn't, because there's so many people out there who are not themselves and they think they have to be somebody, and so, and when you're hurting, you want genuine connection. We want genuine connection anyway, right? We don't want, and it was so nice to meet somebody who was just literally a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Somebody who would respond to your texts in a timely fashion and know where you were, and just somebody you could be yourself with. So, so the question was, why did I move to Stoke? Well, Helen is originally from Stoke. Okay. And so we were thinking about, okay, where this is going somewhere. Where do I want to be? Do I want to stay in Mansfield? We had an opportunity to either stay in Mansfield Warehouse in Nottinghamshire or move to Stoke, thinking, further down the line, family potentially. Helen's family, my family, sadly, my sister's in France and everyone else has pretty much passed away, sadly. So I remember having a conversation with my sister. We were over holidaying in France, and she was like, look, if you're thinking about family, you need support. And Helen's family were in Stoke. So we're moving to Stoke.
Wonderful.
So, and the interesting thing is, Anne, since I've been here and moved in 2013, it has never not felt like home.
No.
It's never not felt like home.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
So is that when your faith took on a whole new dimension?
It did, because I wasn't in church. I always saw church as being, I don't know, for proper Christians, for people who have got, they've got the qualification or the whatever you need to do. Do you know what I mean? It's not for riffraff like me who are around just trying to, fudge it and make the way, I'm a Christian, don't ask me anything about the Bible. Do you know what I mean? It's so God knew that, and it's so interesting because we moved onto an estate called Mere Park, and on that estate, literally 10-minute walk, is the church that I go to. Yeah. Which God knew. I didn't know it at the time moving there. No. But it just so happened that's where it is, because God knows that I'm a little bit lazy.
So how did you get connected to that particular church?
So when I was working for Eon, and I was becoming, a new Christian, I got very excited and I wanted to kind of tell people about it. So I ended up inadvertently joining the Christian network at Eon and doing some blogs. I wanted to blog on the normal intranet, but anything Christian, you've got to do it within the, you get kind of do it over here where the Christian stuff happens. And one of the chaps in the network, Rob Cully, he knew Lovestoke Church. It wasn't called Lovestoke Church at the time. It was a different thing. He was part of the same network. He was like, you should go to this church. It's really good. And my other colleague, who I co-ran the network with, Steve Evans, he was like, you should get yourself in church. And I'm very much like, I don't want to be associated with the trappings of church, whatever those trappings were in my head. I'm not quite sure. But I thought, it was interesting. One Easter for Lent, I thought, you know what? Rather than giving up chocolate or whatever it is, I'll give up giving up church. I'll go to church.
Oh, right, okay.
I'll take on church.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Rob Cully from Eon, gave me Rob Price's number, who was on, I believe, the other week giving his testimony.
Yeah.
And so I reached out, and then I got a phone call back from another Rob. Everyone's called Rob.
Yeah.
So Rob Thompson called me and said, hi Matt, do you want to meet up then? And we'll do. What I liked about the church was it was not so much come on a Sunday. It was like, let's go and meet up and just chat and go to the cinema or hang out. Yeah. And I think anyone who's thinking about church, if the church offers that kind of go and see, go and just meet the people, what you'll realise is they're just people like me and you. They're just regular people trying to make sense of life.
I think this is so interesting and relevant what you're sharing, because people think church is religion.
Yeah.
And yet the true church is relationship. It's a relationship with God and a relationship with one another. And I just love the fact that people say, hey, let's meet up for a coffee, or hey, let's go, and if you're listening to this and you're thinking church is dull and boring and a lot of ritual, the churches that we go to are not like that.
Yeah,
they're about people.
Yeah, find one that works for you. Yeah. There's a lot of different expressions of church across the world, and that's a great thing. And I'm so blessed that I stumbled across the church, because it is relationship first and foremost.
Fantastic. So your next choice of music is Build Your Kingdom Here, and we're going to listen to that now. Welcome back to Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms with me, Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Matt Wood. And Matt, the song we've just listened to was one of the first songs you heard at your church.
Yeah, that's right.
And it wasn't what you perceived it might be.
No, I was quite excited that being introduced to still quite new to Christian music, I guess, and the fact it could be upbeat and kind of I really enjoyed that. At the time, it was all kind of YouTube videos. Didn't have the worship band had been deconstructed before I'd arrived for various reasons. So it was great. I thought, this is really good. And something God had put on my heart was, I got a room full of guitars, and I'd been in bands and had written these songs and done this stuff. And I'm like, I could see the dots lining up. And I remember being back at the church one Sunday, and the pastor Rob saying to me, you're gonna, it should point into the space and like, you doing something, because he knew I was musical. Are you gonna do something in that space? And I was like, yeah, I think God's kind of putting on my heart that I'm gonna do something in that space. And then he said to me, okay, after about 6 months we'll see. I was like, 6 months? Because I was kind of getting excited about it. But what Rob knew that better than all leaders know, kind of, there needs to be a period of kind of settling in and journeying a little bit.
That's right.
And embedding yourself in the church, knowing the people.
Yeah.
If you're going to lead worship, you're leading people, right, into God's presence.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any greater privilege in life as a Christian than introducing people to Jesus or create an environment where people can sense the Holy Spirit. And it's the absolutely the best thing I do in my life, apart from being with my wife and my child. The best thing I do is on the Sunday. If I could do Sunday morning every morning, I would.
What a privilege, isn't it?
It's an absolute. It's the best thing. I don't care if there's 2 people or if there's 200 people. It's just great to be able to be part of that. Yeah.
So how you were on the periphery?
Yes.
And then within 6 months, you're in a position that's a leadership position.
Really? Yeah. Worship leader.
That's
and you kind of
right.
go, hang on a minute. I was. Didn't even know who Jesus was like a few years ago.
So how did that grow? Was that by being there weekly, being exposed to teaching and revelation? How did you mature in those months?
I think there's a couple of things there. When I was first in the church, I was still working in Nottingham at Eon, so I had a long commute. And I discovered the Daily Audio Bible. A guy in Brian Harden does it fresh every day, scriptures. So I used to listen to the Bible on the way into work, on the way out of work. So being in the scripture and letting it wash over you.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they've got to read the Bible, and reading the Word is obviously good, but I really found if you've got some time, listening to it. So I was doing that, going to church on a Sunday, every Sunday, and building a relationship with those people, and realising, as you said before, these are just people journeying with God, messing up, not knowing what they're doing, trying to figure it out, haven't got all the answers, and you kind of go, well, that's me. You'll be surprised. I was surprised, and I think people will be surprised if they're not in church, that it's just churches are just filled with people trying to figure life out, who've grasped onto something, this intimate relationship with Jesus that he wants us to have to help us through the hard times and celebrate the good times with us too.
That's fantastic. We're going to listen to your next choice of music, which is The Same Love. And my guest today is Matt Wood.
Yeah, that song is another song that really spoke to me. And when I was first started going to the church, and just that thread of God's calling everybody by name. And there's going to be people listening who are like, just perhaps on the threshold of there's something, if you get to the stage of there's something else, because everyone at some point in life is questioning purpose and why we're here, right? And exploring all different things. And and Jesus is calling all of us to him, and it's how we respond. It's do we acknowledge that? And I can look back now and see those times. He's knocking on the door, he's trying to get my attention, and it's then just exploring it and realizing that there's an intimate relationship with the God of the universe.
I know.
And we all kind of look at celebrity and go, oh, I'd like to be so and so or know so and so. It's like, but there's a God of the universe, like the ultimate. Not celebrity, but the highest authority, the King of Kings, who wants to know you.
It's mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing, isn't
Matt,
it?
I've loved talking with you today. Thank you so much.
It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
for coming in. It's great. And can you just introduce the final song?
So this song, Gratitude, it's interesting. It's one that Rob Thompson highlighted to me as worship leader and said this is what you should do, and I shelved it for a bit. It didn't resonate, and then I came back to it and I was like, I have nothing in my own strength. I have nothing. I am nothing. I can't boast of anything. All I can do is thank God that God is God and that he made me. And in the lyrics, I just raise my hands and say hallelujah. That's all I've got.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms. True stories, real people.